Hey, welcome to Let's Eat with Russ. Today it's a Saturday, it's a UFC fight night, so I'm going to make some ribs to watch the fight. Got a pretty nice rack of St. Louis style ribs, which is my preference for pork ribs. I like them better than the baby back or the spare ribs. I just feel like there's a little more meat on these and not crazy like the spare ribs. They're just a little easier to deal with, and they're not so tiny like the baby back. So unfortunately, I'm working in the small kitchen today again, so I'm going to do these in my little countertop oven, and this rack is too long to fit in that oven. So I'm going to just cut it in half like I did, and of course for something like this I'm going to use my signature dry rub. That's the rub. So we're just going to give this a good coating on both sides. Don't really need to let it soak in like I would with a steak with the salt, because it's going to slow cook low and slow for several hours. I didn't invent it, but it's my preferred method. I use what they call the 3-2-1 method. So basically you're going to cook them on lower heat. I got my oven set at about 225, and I'm going to cook them for 3 hours just dry like this with the rub on them. And then the second step, which is for 2 hours, you take them out, you wrap them in foil, you add a little bit of liquid. It could be fruit juice, beer, could even be water, whatever you prefer. Just pat that in a little bit. And then for the final hour, after the 2 hours, you pull them out of the foil, use whatever barbecue sauce you choose, and then cook them unwrapped in foil for one more hour. And I've never done this in an oven before. I usually do this on the grill, but I don't have access to a grill here at this location, so we'll try it in the oven. I'm pretty sure it'll still work out pretty much the same and be fine. So I'm just gonna give these guys a good coverage, because a lot of it's gonna drip off with the juices as it heats up and cooks. And in this case, I'm using the mild version of my rub because the barbecue sauce I'm planning to use is a little bit on the spicier side. So I figured I didn't need to go spicy on top of spicy. Plus, I just like to mix it up. So that's basically it for the first step. I'm just going to throw them on the rack with the, kind of cookie sheet, whatever, beneath it, so it doesn't drip all over the oven. And pop them in, and I'll check back in a few hours when I'm ready to wrap them in the foil. All right, well, it's been about 3 hours, and now it's time for the step 2 with the 2-hour process. I actually increased the heat to 250 about halfway through that 3 hours because it looked like they were cooking a little slow. And like I said, this is the first time I've ever tried to do this in a little countertop oven versus on the grill. Normally I would just do this on the grill, but they look like they cooked up pretty well. So I'm going to actually move them real quick so I can lay down some foil to wrap them in. Slide this over. Yeah, that's probably not going to wrap. Yeah, I'm going to have to use 2 pieces for each one. So just want to kind of wrap them up as well as you can there. And like I said, add a little bit of liquid. I prefer to use beer. You can use whatever kind of beer you prefer. That's more than enough. Or if you don't want to use beer, you can use fruit juice or even water. It'll just change the flavor profile a little bit of the finished ribs. So yeah, I'm going to need a second sheet. So yeah, I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm just going to set them back in the oven at the same temperature and give them 2 more hours, and then check back in for the barbecue sauce hour. All right, now we're ready for the third step in this process. Let me pull these guys out here. And actually, in this case, I decided to use a half sheet pan because they're probably going to leak a whole bunch of beer when I open up these foil wraps. Little beer and fat, juices, whatever. Yep, as predicted. So at least that way I don't make a huge mess. One of them started leaking on me and it needed a third sheet of foil to keep it contained. Oh, bone just fell out of one of them. That's usually a good sign. All right, I'm gonna dump off this excess beer and then I'll do the barbecue sauce in just a second. All right, got our barbecue sauce staged up here. I actually flipped them over to the bone side to do them on that side first so I can flip them back over and leave them sort of meat side up for this same, for the last step. I've been doing them meat side up the whole way through, so I'm just gonna stick with that. I really like these little silicone brushes, as opposed to the ones with the little bristles in them where they eventually start falling out and getting stuck in your meat. Plus they're really heat resistant. They come in pretty handy. So I like to just give it a pretty good coating. And then, like I said, we'll throw these back into the oven at the same temperature, uncovered, for about another hour. And then we should be pretty much right where we want to be. So let me just get these flipped over and when I do this on the grill, sometimes they're actually hard to even flip because they're already starting to fall apart. But these don't seem to be doing that. Maybe it's the oven, or maybe I didn't have the temperature quite high enough. I'm not sure. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever tried this in an oven. But it looks like it's working out okay. All right, looks like we're about good to go. Pop them back in the oven and we'll check back in about an hour. All right, it's been about another hour or so. Let's see how these guys came out. Yeah, see, when I do them on the grill, usually it's falling apart at this point. So first try in the oven, still looks like they came out pretty good. Actually, a better way to test it first is just try to tear one off. Oh yeah, that's a really good sign. Bone slid out completely clean from the meat. So they're not falling apart, but they're not sticking to the bone. They're still falling off the bone. Look like pretty good pork ribs to me. So anyway, that's my my 3-2-1 method. You can use whatever barbecue sauce you like. I'm not showing the one that I use because I'm not getting compensated to promote them. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe.